Rain, on a day that you're planning to get people together outdoors, can be a bit of a bummer. But after a dangerously dry summer, Hawthorne Park is grateful for the rain.
Ready? You want to lift up the bottom and I'll lift up the top?
And very excited to plant about 50 trees of different sizes that they received through a grant.
TD Friends of the Environment and Tree Canada came and gave us $30,300 for a grant to help plant out the neighborhood and provide those shade trees that are so vital for being able to play in the afternoon during summer, or even just to provide a better aesthetics to the park.
Whoa, I did some shoveling. We dug holes and then someone put them in and then we filled them in.
Leif lives in Hawthorne Heights with his young family and loves the community feeling in the neighborhood.
People go for walks and walking their dogs, and when they're in their yard, everyone sort of says hi, so it's just great to live in a community that you actually know your neighbors.
Laura moved to Nanaimo about 3 years ago and fell in love with Hawthorne Heights right away.
It's such a range. Families with little kids, senior citizens, students in rental housing, people from all over the world. I remember one day I was walking my dog here and I heard 3 different languages being spoken on the playground.
The playground was built in September 2014 and has been quite a hit.
I really like the swings and the zip line and the bars. I play on the swings like mostly every day. Without the park, the neighborhood would just be like, oh, I have nowhere to go.
But life in this neighborhood hasn't always been a walk in the park.
This whole area, it had been mostly Scotch broom and a few other shrubs.
On July 4th of 2015, Hawthorne Park was hit with a wildfire.
On the first weekend of July, somebody dropped a cigarette and the dry grass and Scotch broom and everything just went up.
People in the neighborhood were grabbing hoses from their houses and running them from other houses to keep the fire back until the firefighters could come here.
We saw a bunch of smoke, so my dad went to go check it out, and then he saw those trees over there burning on fire.
It was pretty unnerving. Somebody came and knocked on my door and said, we may need to evacuate, there's a fire right behind you.
When it's that close to the houses, you sort of start to realize, wow, it could be very dangerous.
But even during this scary emergency, the community bond remained strong.
And a neighbor came over and said, here, I'll hold your hose on the fence, you go pack and get your dog ready in case you need to run.
Luckily, the firefighters were able to keep the blaze away from the houses and eventually put it out. What seems like it could easily be labeled as a bad day in Hawthorne Heights actually wasn't.
In some ways, it was a very good day. Some really good lessons in there about fire prevention and emergency preparedness and helping each other out when things get scary. I got some good hugs from people that got me through the day.
Although fear from that humid day in July is still fresh in residents' minds, the whole experience brought the community even closer and has added momentum to rebuilding the park.
I think that's a choice for all of us all the time, that, yeah, rotten things happen, and we can cope with that, we can learn from that, and we can even get closer and happier as a result of it because we went through the fire together.
Despite the scare, despite the damage, and despite the rain today, Hawthorne Park seems to be healthier and full of more potential than ever. For Go on Shaw TV, I'm Fiona Shedden.